Shout out to Kop-Ish.
Shout out to Kopish, guys.
Keep all the good work
the
up.
two legends, Emil Heskey, Howard Gill. Can't get much better than that, guys. Yeah. You know what to do now. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm with legends, guys.
Kop-Ish.
Hello, people, and welcome to the live match reaction. Liverpool and Everton draw 0-0 at Goodison Park. Liverpool dropped points again. 6 games in, we've had 2 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss. 2 wins in 6 at the start of a new season. We're meant to be kicking on from almost winning the quad. It's not good enough. Not good enough at all. To add a bit of context, we should have won the game, but at the same time, Alisson also kept us in the game as well. Pickford was the man of the match for a reason. He made some fantastic saves. But we only have ourselves to blame, and I say this most games. When we usually lose a game or draw a game, it's because of us. It's because of our fault. We did not put them to the sword today. I'm not going to go into tactical stuff until the boys get it, but something's got to be done. Something's got to be done. Like, what is going on at the moment? Like, this ain't the Liverpool team I'm used to watching. This is poor. Like, with all due respect, yes, I understand it's a derby, so emotions run high, and maybe Everton players give that extra 1-2%, which can make the difference. But I think Man City win today. I think Arsenal win today. I think Man United win today. I think Chelsea win today. I think Tottenham win today. Why haven't we? Why is Alisson having to pull off world-class saves to keep us in a game where we should have been way out of sighting? What are the tactics? Does he not trust some personnel? Are some personnel deemed undroppable or not to go through a campaign without playing a certain amount of games? Do these? I'm starting to wonder, do these not have it written into their contract? They've got to play a certain number of minutes a week, or something ain't right. When you're taking off players who are in form and having good games, something isn't right. When we're 6 games in and we're sitting there saying the league's gone, something ain't right. Something's fundamentally wrong. It's not good enough. Not good enough. Don't know if you've got anything you want to add, Drift, but I'm
kind of, I don't know if it's because I literally feel the emotion of the game that we just went through or not, but I'm already beaten, if I'm being honest. I think the Newcastle win right at the end was a false storm. Because if you look at the game as a whole, needing to win in the 97th minute or whatever it was, against a depleted Newcastle team at home is already a bad sign. You walk away and you're happy because you got the win. That's a very bad, you know what I mean? It's a bad omen, or whatever you want to call it. That you can't even beat a depleted Newcastle team at home without a 97th minute winner. And then today again, like I said, man, I said it before, we don't play good football. I don't enjoy watching Liverpool. I just watch them because they're my team and I love them. I don't enjoy watching them. And we've gone backwards since last season. We really have gone backwards since last season. I'm
starting to honestly think just competing and finishing in the top 4 is enough for Klopp and FSG.
The owners are the ones who set the precedent, but I'm not going to get started on that.
But we can't just keep on saying that. Is Klopp completely blameless, Drift? Is this what we're doing now?
I never said he's blameless, but if you believe finishing in the top 4 is good enough for us as a club, that's the owners who set that ambition. Klopp wouldn't be all right with that if the owners told him you're getting sacked unless you win the league.
Well, Klopp seems to be pretty all right with it. If you're looking at his body language and always what's going on, he seems to be all right with it. Pep seems to be all right with it as well.
I don't know about all that, but there's no point in us getting into that because we're just going to deflect away from what the real problem is, which is today. And yeah, I don't know, man. The pattern of play. For me personally, I don't want to put blame on him totally because he's not the manager, but I really want to know what we're doing in training. Why the patterns of play have so little technical ability in them and so much freestyle hoofball. Like it's almost like, do you know what we're kind of starting to do?
Can I ask you a question?
A little bit worrying.
Can I ask you, not even to put you on the spot, you would prefer us to move Pep Linders on, right? Because you don't think the tactics that he's showing are good enough.
I don't even know if I'll say move him on. I just need to know what he's doing.
Okay. You see how you've got that energy for Pep Linders, and in my opinion, rightly so. If I was to turn around to you and say, but Klopp's the head of that team, so Klopp gets all the flack, do you see how unfair that is?
But what you mean tactically?
Tactically, set up, training, everything. That's Klopp. Klopp heads up that team. So when you say FSG, everything falls at their feet. That's the frustration I have because Klopp is the head of what happens on the pitch. So yes, have the energy for Pep Linders, but if I turn around and said to you the buck stops with Klopp, it's all on Klopp, you'd rightly so be like, nah, it can't be. Hence why I say,
yeah,
no,
but I think
that's a
little bit different though because
it's the exact same, bro.
No, because the tools that you're given to work with are what then makes you go into the job and do whatever job you can do. If you're a mechanic and you know you need
Klopp's
whatever,
happy with his tools.
Whatever tool you
Klopp's
might
happy
be.
with his tools.
Oh, he's not happy with his tools, bro. But let's not go back down there. He said countless times in the last 2 weeks things to contradict him being happy with his. He's not happy with the situation, but he's content. But he's not happy with it. I know if he could change things and he could get players that he wants, then. But anyway, the point that I'm talking about with regards to how we play is, I don't get why we have a lot of technical footballers in our team and we're doing freestyle hoofball. And what worries me more than anything is I remember about 2 or 3 years ago when Man United we used to take the piss and call them Vibes FC because it looked like all they did was just rely on individual brilliance rather than a pattern of play. And in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I'm actually starting to notice we're actually becoming that team. We don't actually have a style and a pattern of play anymore. We're just becoming one of you individuals come up with something and win the game for us. Like we don't actually look like we really have any tactics. And I know Klopp's the manager, so obviously he does have to take a lot of blame in some regard. But he is a manager. He's not a coach. So what we do on the pitch effectively does have a large portion to do with what we do in training and what the coaches do. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, as much as Klopp's got to pull them to one side and be like, I don't like this. What the hell is this? What we're doing is still 80% based on what Linders and the coaching staff take them through on a Monday to a Friday. And I'm watching it and I'm just thinking, what is the game plan here? What are we doing? Why do all our technical players, we've got Van Dijk.
But Klopp's happy with Linders. Klopp's happy with Linders.
Yeah, but bro, we got to stop. It seems like you just want me to say it's Klopp. I'm just trying to figure out what it is.
Brother, I'm not even saying, brother, I'm not saying Klopp out or anything, but if we're having a go and saying Linders ain't good enough, in the same way I'm going to speak about Milner and say Milner shouldn't have been playing today, who makes those decisions? It's Klopp.
Yeah, but Klopp is backing his man, which is what Klopp's fault is. But the tactics are still not Klopp's tactics. They're the coaching team and Pep Linders' tactics. So you must understand what I'm talking about. The buck is stopping with Klopp, yes. And Klopp needs to go, I don't like this. What the hell is this? And having faith in the coaching staff will eventually be his downfall. Yeah, I fully agree with that. But what we're doing on the training pitch, Klopp only takes 15% of training, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've read. The rest of it is the coaching staff. So That's 85% on coaching of like, what are the tactics? What is the game plan here? What are we doing? Remember, Pep Linders is the brain effectively. So I'm just looking at the situation and I'm thinking that game as an example, Pep Linders' job is to bring all of the information about Everton to the table, do his research, and then figure out a game plan on how to beat them. And what was the game plan to beat Everton?
So hold on, just so what does Klopp do then?
He does what a manager does,
Which is what?
which is manage the team, motivate the team, make the substitutions, talk to people. Like that. That's what I'm. When you if you're not a head
starting
coach,
11,
pick the starting 11. Like if you're a manager, it's not like when you've got someone like Mourinho or Guardiola, for example, who are head. I know they're managers, but they're head coaches. And they actually take the training sessions, and they're actually the ones who are fully like on the pitch week in, day out.
so
Like,
you don't think Klopp gives
Klopp's
Pep
more like-
Linders a brief?
No, of course they all go through it together. Of course they do. That's not the point I'm making. But Klopp's more in the mold of a Ferguson, where he doesn't really do much of the training. He does the man management. He does the management side of things. He delegates and gets other people to do what they're doing. He's not the one on the pitch on the Monday, on a Tuesday, going, go here, make this, do this, runs, do this.
So Klopp is the manager. So Klopp is basically FSG on the pitch.
Bro, come on, you're acting like you don't know what a manager is, but a manager doesn't do all of the stuff on the training ground.
But it's like we're trying to absolve from blaming Klopp for anything and throwing it all on Pep and the coaches.
No, bro. In this game, there's a lot of mistakes he made. I'm talking about the tactics, bro. The tactics are on
Klopp's
the coach.
the one who comes up with it. So you reckon Klopp sits there and looks at Pep Linders and says, "What do I do next?"
No, I think he heavily takes advice from his coaching staff. Yes, I do. I believe he's like, would you
taking advice? Taking advice is part and parcel of the job, but to think he sits there and things aren't going right, and he looks over it and his shoulder and says, "Pep, we're down 1-0 or it's 0-0." Not to. I'm talking about the game plan for the match. Will in part largely be on the coaching staff and what the plan is that they have and what they've worked on in the game leading up to it. That's why every game is different, because you prepare for every game differently, right? Based on the opposition you're playing. So I go into the game and I'm thinking, what was the game plan? What was the game plan today? Drift, I'm gonna be completely real, bro. Like, I don't understand where you're coming from with this.
That's fine. That's fine. I know the difference between management and coaching, and I know that the coaches are the ones who come up with the tactics and the game plan with the manager. He takes their advice and then you run with it. So I'm just wondering, what is it they're doing in training? Why we're just hoofing the ball all the time? Why we look like we have no pattern of play? Why all the players look like they're freestyling? That's what it looks like to me. And I'm not absolving Klopp from all the blame. Of course, Klopp's got to get blamed for it. But I'm just wondering what the hell they're doing in training. I really am.
But even if that is the case, though, Drift, even if that is the case, which I completely disagree is the case, even if that is the case, he's the one still looking at it and going, yeah, I'm more than happy with this. Let's do it.
And that's where he takes the blame. But there's still more than just him to blame. That's the point I'm making.
I'm not saying there isn't more than him to blame, but if we're just taking this game as an isolated event, Klopp is, in my opinion, the only one to blame today.
All right, fair enough.
The substitutions were terrible. The timings of the substitutions were terrible.
Oh yeah, all the in-game stuff is on Klopp. Oh yeah, I know that. All the in-game. I wasn't talking about in-game. I'm talking about preparation for the game. That's what I'm talking about.
Preparation's got to be on him as well if he's signing off on the work.
Fair enough.
Like, all right, Drift, I'll throw it in a different direction. Say, for example, we have to hand a business proposal to someone and you're the head of, let's say you're the head of Kopish for now, yeah? And you say, Cal, can you write the business proposal? And I write it and I say, Drift, I've written it. Just check it over and then send it off once you're happy. And you read it over and there's bare spelling mistakes and you still send it. The buck stops with you, Drift. I know I wrote it, but you've checked my work, you've okayed it, and then you send it on.
Yeah. But But that's where I'm saying about having the faith, because if I did that, what I would probably have been doing is just thinking, I know Cal got this, like Cal did it, and giving it off. That's more where it would be.
No, but I'm a human, though, Drift. So I'm gonna make mistakes because I'm a human. In the same
Yeah,
way,
yeah. Of
Pep
course I
Linders is
take
gonna make
blame.
mistakes.
Yeah, of course. The
Hence
point I'm
why-
making, the point I'm making is Klopp isn't the only one who's doing something wrong with the way we're playing. That's the point I'm getting at. This isn't just on him while we're playing this poorly. What we're doing in training and the coaching and the preparation is just as much to blame for why we're playing this poorly. So I'm just saying it isn't just all about him.
And also,
That's
before
what-
people start
that's
going
what I'm
crazy in
saying.
the comments, you're not going to hear any of us say Klopp out. So if that's what you come in to hear, I'm sorry, you're just not going to hear it today. You're not going to hear it from me. You're not going to hear it from Matt. You're not going to hear it from Drift. We are not saying Klopp out. What we are saying is Klopp sort this effing crap out because it's poor.
It is poor. I hear what you're saying in terms of it's not necessarily all on him. But if I'm being honest, though, you see today's performance in terms of like even the changes, because tactics is one thing. I guess changes go into tactics as well. But Klopp can see the game, not just Pep Linders, and Klopp has final say. Because here's the thing: like Pep Linders, I understand, has a massive input in how we play. But then you're the manager, so you can kind of make changes. You can go, Pep, I don't like that. Like that doesn't work. I see it's not working. This is why I need Klopp to kind of like just basically show authority and because I've seen it a few times where the camera will show to the bench, yeah, and Pep Linders is telling Klopp something and Klopp's listening to him, and then they look at the subject, yeah, go on. It's like, no, bro, I understand it because that's how football kind of does work, innit? People might not realize it, but the coach has a lot of input in terms of like what happens on the football pitch. However, today, like I can't help but think like it started so well. Maybe that's why I'm more annoyed than I normally would, because you started well, there's positivity, and then it's like, revert back to type again. Like, we ended up finishing the game with James Milner in midfield. It's like we just can't get away from that. We ended up finishing the game with James Milner in midfield. But before that, don't get me wrong, there was a stint at right back. And what I didn't understand is like, Trent wasn't playing amazingly well, but he wasn't playing amazingly bad either. But then you brought on James Milner to offer something different. James Milner didn't follow the instructions, hence why he was then moved into midfield for then Joey Gomez, who, in my opinion, wasn't having a good game. Not the worst game in the world, but he wasn't having a good game. And then you move into right back. And guess what? We like our right backs to add some distribution, because when you're a right back, you've got to be able to do that in a Liverpool system. So you go and put the player who's having a really bad day for his passing at right back. Someone needs to explain to me how that makes sense, because that don't make sense to me. Not only that, you took off Tsimikas, who was arguably having a good game, in my opinion, for Robbo, because you wanted to revert back to type. And guess what happened? We looked very much nullified when Klopp made those changes, or Pep Linders, whoever made those changes. We looked nullified. How can we go from starting so well, being positive, and seeing like not hoofing the ball, and then before you get to like the 80th minute or whatever, we start hoofing the ball again? We've just gone back to what we used to do. I don't know, like there's too many things where I think, you know what? I understand it. We've had a little moan, we've had a little cry about our transfer window, about how we didn't get enough. Okay, cool. But the season's like in full effect now, innit? Window's done. We can't keep going back to the window and go, the FSG. Like I hear all that. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's frustrated at the transfer window. Everyone is, because we didn't get what we needed. But one thing we can't keep doing is going back to that, though. We're going to be doing that all season if that's the case. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So we can only go with what we have right now. And in my opinion, I don't care what no one says. All those players there, even on the bench and the first team, they are good enough to have won today. They were good enough. Don't get me wrong, Pickford played well. But not only that, though, we have to understand the players, like some of them didn't play well, and tactically we weren't there. That's what's frustrating. That's why you just got isolated. Why didn't we win today? Tactically, we weren't good enough, made the wrong substitutions. Players weren't playing well, and their goalkeeper had a blinder. But we should be doing better than that, though. If the goalkeeper has a blinder and you played amazingly well, fair enough. But it's not like we destroyed them, we played them off the park. they had very good chances themselves to the point where Alisson was called upon and was arguably our best player. Alisson saved us how many times? Remember the Malpay chance? So yeah, we got to look at that and we have to dissect it. I leave it there, man.
All right, let's get into player ratings, boys. Just off the back of what Matt said, Alisson.
Blinder. Absolute blinder. I'm saying Ali. Bro.
Alisson gets a 10 for me personally.
10. Saved us. Saved our bacon.
Yeah, I agree with
that. Trent.
When did Trent get taken off? Can you remember the minute?
No, like 57 or something like that, I think.
So he was probably at that point like a 5 or a 6. Probably say 5. Average.
I'd have gone 6 for 5.5 actually. I'd have gone for Trent.
5.5.
Um, 5.5. Gomez.
I'll let you man go first.
I'd give Gomez a 6.
Gomez gets a 4 from me.
Gomez was poor today, and I'm sticking to it. It was a 4.
Virgil.
I'd give him a 6 as well.
Yeah, Virgil was a 6. It was better than Gomez.
I'd have gone for 7 for Virgil, but it'll be a 6. Simicast.
7.5.
I'd give him a 7 or 6.5 to a 7.
For me, I'd have given Simius an 8 personally.
I said 7.5.
He wasn't playing that well, but
he was playing way better than Virgil.
He was playing. No, in my opinion, Drift, the first couple minutes, it was a little bit like he was getting. When I say cooked, no, I wouldn't say cooked. He was a little bit like, oh no, like Damari Gray's kind of like trying to get the best out of him. I remember we kept on saying throughout the game, like, Simicast, stand your feet, don't dive in. And it's like he weathered the storm. And then from then on, bro, that left flank was his own. You see his crossing.
Yeah,
his
but he wasn't playing like out of this world or anything.
Bro.
He was having a good game, but like, I don't...
Bro, he was our main threat going up the pitch because it wasn't Trent. Trent wasn't even ball carrying. Trent was just getting the ball and hoofing it. Simicast is actually getting the ball, driving with the ball, and actually trying to make something happen. And he put in some good crosses as well.
Yeah, no, but there wasn't that much that happened though. So what I'm saying is like, what is there to go off? I mean, especially for an 8.
I said 7.5. He had a good game, bro.
I would go 6.5 to a 7.
But anyway,
I thought he was having a good game, but I don't think he was playing like brilliant.
No, I thought Simicast had a good game personally, but yeah.
Simicast. Fabinho.
6.5. It was all right. He wasn't doing anything wrong, but wasn't brilliant or anything.
I'd have given him a 6.5 as well.
I would have given him a 6.
Just a bit of news. Apparently, Trent was taken off because he felt something in his calf.
Milner at right back on Wednesday. We move.
Well, straight away. I mean, straight away, knowing that, I think a few people have to backstep a little bit with the grilling of Klopp, knowing that it wasn't tactical.
Agreed.
Everyone was just going in because they thought it was tactical.
I will say this. That's not the only mistake Klopp made. So I'll take that back actually, because yeah, you're right. If that's the case, then cool. But there's other things that he made. That's not getting Klopp off the hook.
Yeah, but that's not the point in question. Now I'm just saying the way everyone was grilling him for doing it because they thought it was him wanting to do it. Now that they know it was because Trent was injured, I'm saying
could have moved Gomez to right back though, Drift, and
straight
then
away without having to bring on Milner.
Yeah, fair enough. But like people still need to pull back because that was one of the things people were really going in on, and it was because of an injury. So I'm just saying.
Actually, to be fair, I was more
It
upset
shouldn't
about
have been Milner
Tsimikas.
coming on anyway.
It was Tsimikas one for
And
me.
again, remember a lot of things. Hindsight is a bitch in it. I know Joey's a better right back than Milner at this stage of Milner's career. That's facts. But Milner came on and changed the game against Newcastle, which was only 3 days ago. Hindsight is always very easy to do, but we still have to look at maybe the evidence was Klopp thought Milner changed the game against Newcastle. Boom, he could possibly change the game today. Like you have to look at things from all sides. You can't just go straight to the let's be negative about what do you get what I'm saying? Like
Not
Milner
being
did come on
negative,
against Newcastle.
I'm judging him
and
based
changed
on
the game.
today's game.
I'm judging him based on today.
Today's
Yeah,
game,
but I'm talking about the decision to do it. We have to understand there was some logic behind it. He came on against Newcastle, played really well, changed the game against Newcastle. We got a win. He's probably thinking maybe Milner could do the same again today. So I'm saying there is logic behind what he did. That's the point I'm trying to make. Now we know it wasn't tactical. It was an injury. He was forced into it and thought, okay, I'll do something that worked the other day against a better team. That's the only point I'm making.
Elliot.
I thought Elliot was brilliant until he was changed position. So I don't think it's very fair to blame him for that. So I'd probably go an 8 for Elliot.
8?
Nah, not for me.
Because I thought in the first half Elliot was playing really, really well.
Elliot 6.5.
Even though it's not his fault he changed position, we still have to judge him on how he performed.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, but I'm still not gonna let that cloud my judgment because it's not his fault. He was kind of playing where he's not meant to play.
8, no chance. Not for me personally. For me, he gets a 6.
Elliot was better than Tsimikas today.
6 or 6.5. I don't think he was.
Fair enough. I'm talking about when he was playing in his right position. I'm talking about when he's playing in his right position.
But he also played. He also played in a 44 lineup when I was strictly saying. Because remember when I was like, him in the midfield too with Fabinho, do you see the gap I was talking about? And I was like, we need to bring on Arthur. And you were like, no, but Elliot's playing well. And I was like, bro, the gap between Elliot and Fabinho just wasn't right. Hence why when we was getting countered, the space that was there, bro, I'm not gonna lie, Mourinho could have fit one of his spaceships there. Like it was. Is it
fair to be overcritical of
somebody
who doesn't play that position?
It's not overcritical on him.
Do you know? I was gonna put something on it though. It's not his fault because he should be playing in a flat 2. That's not his fault. But remember, we're judging by performance. Because if we do that, there's a few players that we could say they don't play in their natural position. And do you know what I mean? Like it's hard to gauge, but we just have to call it what it is. And today, he was just unfortunate to be put in a midfield 2, and he should never have been that. And that's why when I said to you, man, remember when you, man, was going, 4-2-3-1 pivot? I was like, bro, I don't want to see Elliot in a pivot. And do you see why I said that now? Because it's just not going to work.
Enough. I'm only judging him on when he's playing in his rightful position, but I get you.
Elliot in a pivot, yeah, it's just, do you know what it is, bro? It's not like he hasn't got the quality. He don't have the experience. And that was what I was even worried about even when I was gassed about the 2 advancing 8s, is that from a defensive now's point of view, them 2 would struggle a little bit, but it's about taking the rough with the smooth. So I was like, you know what? I'm gassed about this. But then when Klopp went hella brazen and went 4-2-4, you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot because you're asking your 2 CMs, to marshal the midfield. Marshal. Yeah.
So what was your rating for him, Matt?
I said 6.
I went 6.5. And Drift, what did you say again?
8.
We'll meet at a 7 then. Carvalho.
He's unlucky, man. He's got a dead.
Hard to judge him, man. Hard to judge him because he was playing well till he got that knee injury, that thigh injury. So I don't know. It's hard to judge him.
Yeah, he linked up well, couple 1-2s, and it kind of seemed like, and I think you guys might have said it yesterday, they were always gonna try and like be very like robust, or should we just say aggressive with our midfielders if we were gonna play Elliot and Carvalho, and that's exactly what they did. It's unfortunate, man. He has probably just got a dead leg, so it's one of them things where it's like, okay, hopefully he's cool, and even if he has a rest against Napoli and he's back for the league game, but yeah, I think Carvalho, you can only really give him like a 6 at best because he didn't he only played like what 50 odd minutes. No, sorry, 30 minutes. Sorry, yeah, and then after that he was kind of a passenger.
I would have given him a 6.5 up until he got the injury.
Okay, I
I'd
would have
have
given him
gone-
probably a 6.
I'd have gone 6.
So he gets a 6 then.
Yeah, annoying.
Salah.
I want to caveat. I want to caveat the rating by just saying I don't believe it's Salah's fault. He's playing badly. I actually think the tactics are just completely wasting him, and I'm a bit confused by what the plan is with Salah this season. We're making him stay a lot more wide. We're making him have more of a creative role in the team rather than a goal scoring role in the team. And the entire time he's been here, he's been a goal scorer. So I'm a bit confused as to why that's become the plan. I'm just very confused with what we're doing with Mo at the moment. So I'm a little bit less harsh on Mo, even though he's not playing well, because again, just like when Elliott was moved into midfield, I think it's tactics that are messing up his game. I know he's got to take some responsibility for it, but I still believe it's the tactics that are messing up his game. I'm just not sure what we're doing with this, but I'll give Salah a 5 as his rating.
Salah gets a 4 from me. I echo everything you say, by the way, Drift. I really do. But when I'm looking at him and he's running into a defender, when he's got the ball at his feet, when his passing is not crisp enough, that's not to do with tactics. That's down to your performance.
Yeah, I think I understand.
He did play that beautiful pass to Bobby though.
He did.
And he almost scored at the end with the shot that came off the post that Pickford got to. But apart from that, I kind of think he stunk out the play.
He's left.
Yeah. He didn't have a good game. Yeah, he didn't.
Do you know what I find kind of weird from last season? In fact, to every single season Mo Salah's been at Liverpool, he's not in the game. He's not in the game. He's our best player when on form, and he's firing and he's unstoppable, but he's not in the game. This is where, like, I struggle to understand at times, like, tactically what we're doing. And that's why I was specifically saying, like, tactics. Whether it's Pep Linders brought up the whiteboard or not is another thing. But it's Klopp allowing it, innit? Like, them man, they have to have some type of conversation and go, our best player's not in the game. He's too much, like, on the outskirts of a game. Like, Mo has, like, these kind of half chances, or he's got to create something, like, from himself. You think about Mo's chances are like, he has to really do something extraordinary to kind of get into the box. That shouldn't be it. His starting position is so out wide. It's unreal. And I don't understand why that's happening. It's so frustrating because he needs to be on the ball. He's not just a goal scorer.
That's what I'm saying. It's the tactics,
he's a chance,
bro.
No, I hear you.
It's the tactics, bro.
No, but I hear you. But also, again, and that was to your point, because I back you on that point. But I also understand what Cal's saying in terms of, like, when he does get that chance and, like, he's sizing up a defender, man just runs into the defender. And it's like, because Salah can be a little bit like that. He has them moments where it's like, bro, like, what? Like, did you see man right in front of you? So for me, I think it leans more towards tactics. However, I think him being off form, that's when you see what happens when Salah's off form. He is that guy. Some players, when they're off form, they can still do things. You're like, oh my gosh. But Salah, when he's off form, he does that. He'll run into a defender, and you're like, bro, that like I could run around him. So yeah, for me, Salah, it hurts me to say, but it was on the outskirts of a game. I know he hit the post, but you can only really get a 5 from that. And maybe I'm even being generous because I think I'm saying that because he hit the post, and like you said, if he got a good pass off. But other than that, I would have said he was a 4 or 3. I have to be real, bro. Because look at Diaz. I'll go 5. 5.
Nunes.
I'll give Nunes 5.5 to a 6. He wasn't that much better than Mo in terms of like his effect on the game, but he was putting in more effort and he was more involved. He didn't have an effect on the game, but he was more involved in the game. And he did have that brilliant chance that pulled Pickford. So for some reason, he thought he was a good goalie today.
For me, I thought Diaz was better than Salah, and I think it's quite telling because I don't know if you guys have seen
Nunes,
it. No,
Nunes.
Oh, Nunes. I thought you said Diaz. Sorry.
No, Nunes.
Oh, Nunes. First game back, had a couple of half chances. Do you know what it is? As things stand right now, he plays like he's an impact player. And we need more in it. And I know it's his first game back. I wasn't expecting a masterclass, but I just thought it's like he's trying to still make an impression. Bro, relax, breathe. Just breathe. Take a second. He's got the ability. It's a weird one with Nunes, you know. I think I said it during the stream. I was like, all this brother needs is a couple of goals, and I think he's just going to go on a madness. He's got that kind of like tenaciousness that like and confidence that you need as a striker. It's just that I think he just needs something to happen for him. And I think his first game back, probably just playing of pure adrenaline, fam. So, yeah, Nunes for me, I think he gets a 5. Well, yeah, he gets a 5. I don't think
what I would like to
do much still.
What I would like to say to kind of not defend Nunes because it wasn't like he was brilliant, but I actually think as soon as we made the switch, Nunes became ineffective in the game. And I think if the tactics had remained similar, now we know Trent was an injury. It's not so much of a on Klopp, like, why did you do that kind of thing? But whatever it was at that moment, the way things changed, I think that was when Nunes became a bit more non-effective in the game. And if Trent hadn't got injured and we'd have continued to play the same way, maybe there would have been an opportunity that he would have been able to take. Because we were playing better at that time. Like, I think we really started to play poorly once them changes started being made. We weren't really playing that badly up until that point. And then after the changes, it was like we just became so ineffective and they took the upper hand and then they started getting chances. And then all of a sudden they looked dangerous in the game when they hadn't looked dangerous at all up until that point, in my opinion. So it's today is just a really weird one, man. It's a really weird one.
I'd have given Nunes
I'm just thinking of it now. I'm even, yeah, and
I think he tried hard, but it weren't coming off for him. Again, there is a lack of service to him at points. The chest and shot he had was extremely unlucky not to go in. But again, I still look at other areas of his game where technically he doesn't look up to speed for this league at the moment.
Can I just ask you something, you both? Yeah, Man City have signed Haaland, and he's on the thing, in it. Like he's not messing about. There's no adaptation. Why do you not think it's taking Nunes that bit longer? Is it because of what do you think?
It's two things for me.
Yeah, go on.
Go on. Haaland is better and more refined.
Yeah.
And City have better creative players.
Yeah. They're putting 100 chances on a plate and Haaland just has to make sure.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Well, here's the thing though.
But do you know what?
If you swapped Haaland for Nunes at Man City, I still don't think Nunes gets as many goals as Haaland, but I don't know if he struggles as much as he is right now.
Because
I still think he bangs in a lot of goals at City.
I don't think he gets anywhere close to Haaland though.
I don't think he's at 9 where Haaland is at now.
With the same service, I think he would. He's not as good as Haaland.
I slightly disagree. I think he gets goals.
If you look at all the goals that Haaland is scoring, they're not the type of goals you've got to be.
No, but Haaland more clinical,
you just
bro.
have to be a natural striker who's instinctively in the right place.
But Haaland's more refined. I think Haaland's even his movement's better. His pace is like
his understanding of the game in English football.
He's just more refined.
I think he.
Yeah,
I think
he's a better
he's
player,
more
but
up to. He's
I,
more up to speed.
I still
He's
look
more
at
up
the
to
type of
speed.
goals he's scoring, and I think any natural striker scores those goals. I'm
Nah.
not
No,
trying
but
to take
do
nothing
you know the
away
one
from
that stood
Haaland,
out for me
but
out of
he's
all the
got,
goals he
I think,
scored?
6 of the 9 goals are like in the 6-yard box. That's just a natural
No,
striker. That's what
can I tell you what it is for
natural
me?
strikers do.
We got first of all, the reason I said Haaland is because they brought a striker, we brought a striker, and we're kind of going away from what teams used to play. But but the reason I'm also saying that is because they should never been in a comparison in the first place. Because one is on a different level to the other. The other one is up and coming, and there should have never been this comparison. It's only because of price tag. Do you know what stood out for me in out of all the goals that Haaland scored? It was the most basic one, bro. The ball was crossed in, yeah. And Haaland leaped over 2 defenders and just put it in the net. Bro, we see like him as a player, yeah. He's already gained that authoritiveness where he can just move man out the way. There was another one where he was played clean through, bro. Do you remember? I can't remember who it was against, yeah. And he literally moved man out the way with his strength, yeah. I was like, as good as Nunes is, Nunes ain't like that.
No,
Haaland is actually.
that's the type of goal that Nunes wouldn't score. Yeah, I
Yeah, and what
agree
I was
with
gonna
that.
say is Haaland is a robot. Like he's different. I've never seen a striker, yeah, that's like he can manhandle like pretty much nearly any defender. Yeah, it don't matter what they try and do. This guy is just hell bent on scoring. He's just hell bent on scoring. I think Nunes can get like that. He can get like that. But I also feel as well, I agree with you both, chance creation would have to be a lot higher because Nunes is as clinical as we think he may be, not necessarily me, but he's going to need a few chances because he don't strike me as a Harry Kane, a Haaland, an Aguero. He needs a few chances. But I also feel like he's a confidence player where like if he was to get 2 goals, maybe the next 5 games he gets 3 goals. So it's like I think Haaland's gonna take Haaland. I think Nunes is gonna take time. And that's why I was a bit like, yeah, this brother, he needs a bit of refinement. He needs a bit of work. It's gonna take time. My only problem is that have we got that time? It's not about whether he will be good. It's just whether we have that time. And that's how I feel about Nunes.
Here's what I will say on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously nobody's arguing that Nunes is better than Haaland. The point I'm making though is chance creation at Man City is so high. Nunes is still eating for fun. Let's not get carried away with the poor performance today as an example, or like that he got the red card the other day. Nunes is a gunman. He may not have as much credentials as Haaland, but he's a gunman. For Uruguay, and especially in his last season at Benfica, he proved one chance, goal is what he can be. We played Benfica twice, and he barely had anything to work off, and he scored 3 goals past us in 2 games. Like, he is a gunman.
I don't think he's a
What we
gunman,
need,
bro.
what we need to understand is that we are not playing to his strengths, and creatively, we are actually pretty poor, and we have been all season. And I don't know why we've changed the way we play so much, but we've clearly done it to try and accommodate for Nunes. But I don't think it's been done in the right way. We barely ever play through balls, which he's very good at running onto the ball, and we barely ever do that. I don't know if that's because Thiago's not playing, so we don't really have anyone who's
Teams play deep against us. If there's no space,
well then if no, that is true. So when they do that, what we then have to do is we have to actually get some good width and get good crosses into the box. I think we're spamming at the moment. I think we're just hitting a cross for the sake of hitting a cross. I don't actually think we look up, target Nunes, see him in the box and pick him out. I think we're just, there's a danger area. I just put the ball into the danger area and come what may. And we've been doing that way before we even got Nunes. So that I don't even think that's got anything to do with him. It's just this weird thing, crossing inshallah. We've been saying it for a long time. It's kind of our makeup. And we're just asking him to just get on the end of it. And if he doesn't, we blame him. That's kind of what it is. It's like,
But no, I hear what you're saying. In fact, you know what? I respect you for that because I'm not even debating that. What I am debating though is more so if we've got to play to his strengths, yeah, that's a big ask for a football team to play to someone's exact strengths, considering they've been playing a certain way for so long. Because even when Sadio Mane was there, even when Jota's there, we kind of still played the same because they will be a roaming centre forward. It wouldn't just be there on the end of something all the time.
and how frustrated did we get about
Yeah,
that?
no, agreed. But what that says to me is this, though. If you're going to buy the striker, because remember, Liverpool bought Nunes. Yeah, Liverpool, the club, Liverpool Football Club. We bought Nunes. We should know how to utilize him. We should be able to kind of integrate him in. And the reason why I use Haaland is because, and I don't want to keep doing a comparison thing, but remember, they never had a striker last season. So it's like the same thing. Doesn't matter about it doesn't matter about who was better than other. Fact of the matter is they brought a centre forward who was different to what they had at the club. And they've been able to integrate him in very easily. And we are struggling. And yes, we can kind of see that there's a goal in terms of creativity. But again, that kind of falls back on us as as the coach, as the manager. They need to find a better way to integrate him in, because if not, it's going to be a long season of Nunes trying to find his feet, and that's going to be a horrible thing to watch. No one wants to see that. We need to kind of get up to speed, and I also feel like as well, we brought in Thiago. Obviously, if Thiago was injured, Thiago is probably the one guy that can unlock him. And if that's not working, Klopp, like, we know how you are. Maybe try the 4-2-3-1, where someone like a Bobby Firmino or a Carvalho who can play 10, and you can unlock him straight away. Because then at least you're high up the pitch. The number 10 can just, you know what I mean, back to goal, turn, and unleash Nunes. Because I feel like he needs to be unleashed. It's weird, isn't it? Because, like, he's trying hard. He's trying too hard because he feels like the service ain't right. Like, we're trying so hard. We just think, oh, Nunes is playing, so let's just put a ball in the air and see if we can get on the end of it. You got to play natural, and it will happen naturally. But I feel like everything's been forced, and I think it's hurting us, and it's frustrating to watch.
Yeah, it's just not working at the moment.
Like, who's gonna unlock him in our team? Like, if Trent is injured, because I haven't seen anything, but Trent.
I think it's a case of it's a bit of both. It's a case of
who unlocks Nunes, bro?
Him. No, I think it's both though. Both parties. I think he's got to unlock himself, and we've also, as a team, have got to unlock him as well. Like, we can't sit here and act like he's had absolutely no chances. Like the Fulham game, he tried 2 flicks, none of them came off. The second one was a rebound off the defender to him. Like the Palace game, if I'm not mistaken, he had a couple chances, he didn't score. So I'm not saying he's had anything put on a plate now, but I'm still saying he's had chances that I think Aguero, Kane, Haaland, they gobble up. So I'm not saying he's rubbish by any stretch of the imagination.
When was the last time we had a clear chance, though, Cal? Like, when was the last time we created a clear chance for Nunes where, like, you're looking at it, you're like, there's no way he shouldn't score that? I don't even think we have.
The Palace
not
game.
Clear and open cut. You're right. Not clear and open.
What chance was it?
The Palace where he skied it, where it came over from a Salah cross, I believe, and he skied it.
Oh yeah, but I mean that was still a half volley, which isn't exactly an easy technique.
That's a clear.
But he's got this scuffing thing about him. I can't even lie. And I guess he's thrashing at it. But
when he got put through against Palace as well, before he got sent off, and he miskicked it, and then the defender got it. That again is another clear chance for me. These are the fine margins where you're looking at someone like a Haaland, and you're thinking, well, Haaland gobbles it up, but Nunes doesn't.
You know, he's only been there for a couple of games. Are we being a bit too reactionary to judge someone after 5 games?
It's not that. I don't think so.
That's what I'm trying to get to, though. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not criticizing Nunes for not being Haaland. There was only one Haaland. But this is why I was so quick to come out in the summer and say, can we stop doing a comparison thing between the two? Like, they're not the same. So he's going to need chance. He's going to need more chances, but it's something we're going to have to live with. But at the same time, we as a team are going to have to play or do more to get him to have more chances. Hence why I think we're seeing Salah wide as opposed to nearer to the box. Because with that being said, if Salah's too close to him, he's not got the chance or the space to do anything in the box. Hence why I think we're seeing Salah wide and Diaz more wide. That's a different story. On to Diaz then. What are we saying for Diaz?
I'd give Diaz a 6.5. He was way more lively than most. Obviously, still wasn't amazing, but he was way more lively than most. And he hit the post as well, which is very unlucky. So I'll give him a 6.5, 7.
Diaz was a 6 for me.
I thought 6.5 because I thought he was more involved in the game with Salah. And not only that, I think his chance was very, very unlucky as well. So, yeah, I'll go 6.5 for Diaz.
All right, on to the subs then. First sub would have been Bobby Firmino.
I thought Bobby did all right. It was a bit weird that we went to 2 up top. He had that brilliant. He had that brilliant shot that was saved by Pickford again when he thought he was a bad man. He had that shot where he should have put more power in it, but it was still a decent effort. I'd go 7 to 7.5 for Bobby.
I'd have gone 8 for Bobby.
I thought he actually changed the game. He was the one person that, like, bro, he was a real threat when he came on. And yeah, it makes you question as well whether Klopp should have started Firmino in hindsight. You look at it now and think, was he the guy to start? He was on form. Nunes would have been, better maybe as the impact player. Bobby gets an 8, bro. Like, he's played so well.
But remember, Bobby is a brilliant impact player as well, so it could have worked either way. I mean, Bobby did come on and change the game.
No, but what it is that one was on, not just the impact player, he's on form. No. Nunes is off a ban, like trying to. And here's the thing: Nunes is off a ban, still trying to find his way in English football. Bobby Firmino's on form. When you deep it, like you in hindsight, you think, yeah, Klopp, in my opinion, got that wrong.
Here's the thing, though. I'll touch on it more when we get to the Klopp part, but we hate that the team is predictable, and I rate Klopp today for not being predictable. Firmino playing was predictable, Nunes playing wasn't. So I can't just like flip on the views I have because of the way the game ended. But when we get to Klopp, we'll talk about that.
No, but then I also feel like
it's a double-edged sword. Sorry, it's a double-edged sword, because I actually agree with that, but at the same time, Bobby's got how many goals and assists in the last 2 games?
7.
And
that's what I'm trying to say. There's got to be.
Dropped. It's a weird one.
For me, in my opinion, Klopp showed no common sense in that part, because if you've got a guy on form, yeah, it doesn't matter if people think he's predictable. He's on form. You play him. He's on form. Why would you not play him? Oh, I need to do something crazy. Well, you've already done something crazy by playing the 2 8s, Carvalho and
let's say before we get to Klopp, because obviously, like, that's
wrong. Yeah, cool. No, it's cool. I got something for Klopp.
Robbo.
4.
Bruh. Yeah. Robbo was poor.
I gave Robbo a 5 personally. No, in fact, you're right. 4 actually.
Robbo was poor, bro.
No. Yeah, might be 4. In fact, I'm trying to think back on his game.
He didn't do anything.
He actually did the opposite to what he normally does. I thought he was making runs and trying to cross the ball, but he wasn't defending very well. And normally it's the other way around.
Milner.
4 as well.
Honestly, I thought it was a 3. I thought Milner, and I'm not just gonna say. In fact, let me actually explain why I give Milner a 3. I still got no confirmed reports about this whole Trent thing. So, Drift, you'll have to show me that, because I ain't seen that. And Klopp, I was checking.
I think
as well.
Klopp. I think Klopp said it.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it. Milner came onto the pitch as a right back, offered nothing that Klopp wanted, because what Drift was saying, which might be right, by the way, is that Klopp is thinking, you know what, Milner, you made a big impression against Newcastle. I want you to do the same thing, maybe overlap and give us something different. Milner done the exact opposite. Milner actually went into his shell, because when he saw the pace he was up against, he kind of was like, oh, I've got to be careful here, and tried to play kind of percentage game. So he played at right back, had a bad game. Then he got moved into midfield, and it was just a nightmare. I mean, yeah. 3. I don't want to disrespect Milner. 3.
Yeah, for me, it'd be a 3. I do think he was the worst on the pitch today.
I think what summed it up for me was the slide challenge high up the pitch, where I'm a viewer on TV and I can see he wasn't going to win it. he's live there in the flesh, and knew he weren't gonna win it, but he still was thinking, I'm gonna go in for this slide challenge. That just made no sense to me.
I still
But
think he
people,
was close to getting it, but yeah.
but yeah,
Matip,
I don't think he was on long enough to be judged, really, was he?
he was on the same amount of time as Jota.
Shit, did he cut? Was he on that long? I don't remember him doing anything. But maybe
Remember
that's
the
because we
double
weren't
chain?
getting.
It was a double
Maybe
chain.
because we weren't being attacked. Because I just don't even remember Matip touching the ball. I just give him a 5 because I don't remember him having to do anything. I don't even remember him doing anything. Which I guess is a good thing because maybe it means we weren't having to defend. But I don't even remember Matip getting the ball.
I'm not gonna lie, it is crossing my mind to put Milner lower, but I just don't want us to come across as that we're just
A 2? No, that's too far, man. He weren't that bad. He wasn't that bad.
you know what it
I'm
is.
just-
I'm gonna
think
be
he was.
honest. Like, what? Name me something that Milner did good today, in your honest opinion. Like, name me something.
Oh,
That you think
when he
did
was
good
at right
today.
back, there were some good tackles he made. It's
He
easy
good
to remember the
challenges.
bad ones. Yeah, there was times when they tried to
Bad
get
ones,
past him and
bad
they
ones, yeah.
didn't. So I don't think he was as bad as a 2. There was quite a few times where Milner made a good tackle. He just obviously the bad ones stand out, don't they?
Fair enough. Jota.
I know nothing came of it, but I thought Jota was really lively when he came on. He made an impact on the game to a degree. 7.5. I thought Jota was good. Felt good to have him back, that's for sure.
I'd have probably gone a 6.5 for Jota. I don't think 7.5. I think you can see he's still finding his rhythm.
He
I'd
looked
gone
like,
6.5.
to me, he looked like he was kind of the only one capable of scoring, really. Like he looked about it when he came on.
No, I'm not. Yeah, from a endeavor standpoint, but in terms of execution and all that, and the performance itself, I do think personally,
I don't know.
mate, I'd have given him a 6.5. So we'll land on a 7. So it's in between our scores. Jurgen Klopp.
Before we rate him, again, back to the point we was making, the game hasn't worked out well. So it doesn't look good at the moment. But the starting lineup, I actually like the starting lineup. I actually think it was very brave, which is what we've asked for, and it was very unpredictable, which is what we've asked for. He went with Carvalho and Elliott. Carvalho deserved the start, and he gave him it. He didn't play Milner in midfield, which everybody moans about. He actually went with a little bit of kahuna, so to speak. No, I'm going to let my 2 young bucks play, and I'm going to be a lot more attack-minded to try and win this game. It is not his fault that idiot totally took Carvalho out and changed everything on the 28th minute or whenever it was Carvalho got an injury, which is very early in the game, relatively speaking. Like the first third of the game, Carvalho gets taken out and totally changes what it was that he was trying to do with that. So I'm going to give him a bit of credit for actually being brave and not predictable by having Núñez and Carvalho come in and not just playing Milner and reverting back to type. But then in that second half, his substitutions, every single one of them, and apart from the Milner one for if Trent was injured, every single other change, I didn't understand. Like, I didn't understand any of them. Like even when Jota came on for Núñez, and even though Jota played well, if you're chasing a goal, bringing off Núñez makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like at that point, you could have effectively just put Bobby back into midfield and took Elliott off. And like Bobby can do a job in there. Maybe not the best job in the world, but at least he's another attacker on the field and another player who was playing well at that point. And then you could have gone Jota and Núñez as a 2 up front. And maybe Bobby could have had some creativity to actually make something happen. because once he went Milner in midfield in a pivot, so to speak, who the fuck is creating the chances anyway? Like Elliot might not played well in the pivot, but he's creative. So you bring him off and you put Milner in there, but Milner's not creative. At least Bobby would have been creative. So it would have been Bobby maybe making a late run into the box maybe or something from a corner, or, you know, like, and he could have maybe got in the end or something. And then Jota and Nunes could have been a nuisance to the team. Nunes is fresh as well. He's had 3 games where he weren't playing, so he's fresh. What was wrong with him finishing the 90 minutes? He weren't having a bad game either. What's wrong with him finishing and go Jota and Nunes, big man, little man, put both strikers on, try a thing if that's what you're trying to do, innit? We had Robbo on for width. If Milner had stayed at right back, that's width as well. So Bobby drops into midfield to have a little bit of creativity. And let's not get twisted. Bobby can tackle. He may not be an 8 naturally, but Bobby can tackle. He's way better at it than Elliot for a start. And based on today's performance, not overall, but today's Milner's tackling was quite poor today. So he'd have probably been tackling better than Milner today as well. So you put him in the middle to be a bit more creative, and you keep Milner at right back to keep the width. And then you put Jota up front with Nunes, and then you try and do the 4-2-4, just put the ball in the box in it. That's kind of what we was trying to do, I guess. And you'd have had a big man and a little man. And I think Cal made a point during the game that probably is true, even though I do think Jota's brilliant in the air. If Nunes gets that chance right at the end that Jota had, he would have probably put that away, because he would have been tall enough to get over it and get the power on the header. So I don't really know what Klopp was doing with any of his substitutions today, to be honest.
What's your rating for him, bro?
What we're talking about Klopp, yeah?
4.
Do you want me to break down Klopp? Or you just want to rate him?
It's up to you. My rating for him is a 3. Maybe even a 2.
Let me break down Klopp. I'll try and do it as quick as possible because we just all want to get out of it because it's just one of them ones, isn't it? I'll be as quick as possible, people. Positive from the beginning. Started Elliot Carvalho. It looked like it was working, kind of not working at the same time. Didn't see enough of it for 30 minutes. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens. Decided to take off Tsimikas for Robbo. Made no sense. Tsimikas is having a good game. It's not Tsimikas was getting skinned or his decision making was really poor. Tsimikas, this game actually suited him. Tsimikas done everything right. Still took him off. Why? For Robbo, I don't understand why. Crazy, huh? Then move on to Trent. Apparently, it was an injury. So if that's the injury, that's fine. That's if that is the case. However, you could have just moved Gomez there. You could have, if you wanted to. But you chose James Milner. Okay, cool. That's fine. He's going back to what James Milner did against Newcastle. Again, like, yes, James Milner, impacted the game when he came on against Newcastle, but this is a different game. And it was so telling from the get-go that this is different opposition and different tactics. They were always going to try and isolate him in a one-on-one situation. And do you want to know what's so funny? There were so many times I saw James Milner being isolated, no matter where he was on the pitch. It doesn't matter whether he was in the opposition half or in his own half, because they started targeting him, especially with Anthony Gordon. That didn't make sense to me. Then he moves and goes to the 4-2-4 and then puts Milner holding with Fabinho. But I'll go one better, because the mistake I also feel like Klopp made as well is playing Harvey Elliott in a midfield 2 in a 4-2-4. Like, bro, if you're going to play 4-2-4, yeah, and I'm going to be honest, that's like a absolute automatic, like, attacking formation. Your midfielders have to be generals because you have to cover a lot of space. You're asking 2 midfielders to control the game and allow the 4 attackers to go and do what they need to do. Harvey Elliott is not that guy. He would never be that guy as things stand right now. So why would you put him there? Why would you, like, that didn't make sense to me. So then you put the midfielder who, yes, he's kind of like the marathon man, whatever, but you also have to understand as well that it's about opposition. Like, they can play the ball around you, because in the transition now, like how we saw during the game, we were countered because when we were caught in transition, the midfielders are not the most dynamic, are they? We're not even a dynamic team. and you've got two of the slowest players in Liverpool are now controlling the game, and you think that's going to work? Yeah. Do you know what? I'll leave it there because I could go on and on and on. Klopp gets a 2 from me, fam. I can't even lie. He gets a 2, blood.
What did you give Klopp, Drift?
4.
There you go, a 3 from me. I'm not a good day at the office. Maybe help these super chats.
I don't think it was even at the office, personally.
Zabiri says, Cal, to answer your question about Salah, the player we wanted went to another club. That's the dumbest excuse ever because we were good on July 1st. Code Command.
I can't remember what the question was that you asked.
No, I say why haven't we got someone who can deputize or compete with Salah? Code Command says City are just a more well-organized club in terms of player management, not running them into the ground, knows when to move aging players on, etc. Facts.
I disagree slightly with the moving aging players on because they've rinsed most of their players till they were old. It's just they've got a lot of good young players around them. Like I remember Company was probably way past it before he got moved on.
He was only playing in the big games though, Drift.
No, but what I'm saying is he was still around till he was old. I mean, it's just they got so many young players around, it's not as noticeable. Like Fernandinho was 37 last season. Like he's kind of why they lost to Real Madrid, because he was the one who got done on the wing and stuff. Like they do keep old players around. They just got a lot of young players around that don't make it as bad.
Vex Blazer says, tell me why we have 2 creative midfielders if we still play through the wing backs and spam crosses. Bellingham changes nothing. If we don't change our system. I still don't see Bellingham coming. Joe says second half subs were dreadful. Agreed. Alex says hard for Paul to win the league v City. We have more historical rivals and derbies: Newcastle, Everton, Man United, Chelsea. For example, the teams more up for against us. I think that's a bit of an excuse. We know what it's going to be every season.
I get his point though. It is a good point that there's quite a few rivalries that do make games for us that are a little bit more emotional and intense and stuff. I get his point.
David said, why did Klopp take off Trent and Milner and for Milner in 2022? Also, haven't seen Salah this poor before. I'm livid. We look washed. Apparently, if what Klopp said is true, then Trent had felt something in his calf, which is why I took him off. Silver Spring says Klopp lost us the game today. Absolute terrible game management. Jay says Nunes gets bad service from midfield, man, but the tactics are isolating him in the box and giving him late crosses.
I agree with that.
Callum says, what does intensity do in training? Spent 90 minutes smacking the ball in the air and expecting Nunes to do something. Tragic, boring football. That is not a burner account, but I fully agree with that. Messi says the owners don't know Robbo or Millie. #blind loyalty. Hisham says not giving the ball to Salah in the box baffles me. Not giving the ball to rather than playing him wide, I'm guessing that is. David said our centre backs have more of the ball than our midfielders. Joke. Facts, David.
Imagine we brought in a midfielder who's got ball retention, only for him to rush and get international clearance to then sit on the bench and watch Milner doing that hoofball.
And Anthony says Klopp has enough tools to beat Everton, Fulham, and Man United. Shake my head. Agree with that. Jeannie says our era is over. We won't be able to compete financially with the other big boy teams going forward. Can't see us keeping our big boy players in the near future on this sinking ship. Shake my head. Might have to come back to that super chat in a year's time and see where we land. Math says disagree, Drift. We have tactics, still attack from wide players. Klopp picks the high line. We get counted every game.
Yeah, I agree with the high line part. I'm sick of that high line.
Zabiri says, Drifty, I mean this from a place of love. Hearing you defend Klopp is as bad as watching us play this season, turning me into Little John. What? No yays though. No yays.
I said I was trying to say it was on more than just him, not defending him.
Gooner Lee said, I've clocked it. Drifty might be a top red. He definitely ain't.
Arsenal don't know how to back their manager, that's why.
Math says Pep is an assistant, he assists, Klopp is the boss. Abubakar says Drift stop deflecting, Klopp is still to blame.
Fair enough. I'm gonna start seeing Klopp out soon. I can smell it.
Guna Lee says 96th minute, four Salah's first shot on target, 350k.
I want to know why Lee's so obsessed with how much Salah's making.
It's because we came at him for the Aubameyang stuff, to be fair.
Oh, you mean and Ozil, two players who actually did kind of down tools. At least Salah's not down tooling.
No, he's not, but he's not performing. So when this happens, we have to take the smoke.
No, but there is a big difference between tactics playing you out the game and you just not caring anymore.
I don't think Aubameyang down tooled. I just think he hit some really rough form.
Ozil definitely did.
Ozil, there was a lot of politics behind that Ozil one, which Drift. There was a lot of politics behind that.
Bro,
Ozil
if you see the way Ozil's career's gone since he left Arsenal, he's just down tooled full stop, bro.
No, I hear you, but there was a lot of political stuff going on behind.
So what happened at all the other clubs? I think Fenerbahce just got rid of him. Like they just terminated his contract.
That one I don't know much about. If I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about. But the Arsenal situation, if I'm going by the Arsenal situation, which is why Lee's coming at us, then realistically they treated him like trash there at the end.
Yeah, we'll never know.
BC says, for the Klopp out brigade, name me a better upgrade. PP, thank you for your super chat.
By the way, I want an answer for that question from everyone who is Klopp out.
They won't be able to give you one.
I mean, so if they want Klopp out but they can't give an answer, then I don't really get what they're getting at.
I mean, they could throw it back on us and say we want FSG out. Who we're going to go and get?
Yeah, but we know that there's owners out there that would buy Liverpool. There are. Like we've actually had a few consortiums even approach FSG and they said no. So there are people that would buy Liverpool. Todd Bowley came out of nowhere and bought Chelsea. There are owners that would buy Liverpool. There are. If we became available tomorrow, we'd be way more desirable than what Chelsea were.
No, I hear you, but the question is about the whole upgrade, though, innit? We don't know.
If we got bought by owners who actually wanted to win and not just compete and make money, then it would be an upgrade, wouldn't it?
But that's the point. We don't know what we're going to get. I'm willing to take the risk, but we genuinely don't know what we're going to get. We could get another.
Yeah, of course. But I would be very surprised if anyone who took over Liverpool at this point would be doing it to just stay the same.
I would be.
Like,
well.
Do you know what I mean? I'd be very surprised. I'll be doing it to be like, this is a great team. Let's make them great. But
Kadir says, are we surprised? This club has been underfunded for years. We have overachieved with Klopp. This was always going to be a top 4 race this season. Villain says, Klopp's press conference becoming predictable too. We always improving, not sure what is. Hayes says, this team was built around Mane, and when he left, that was the beginning of the end of this era. Salah is just a sideman without Mane.
Yeah, do you know what? A lot of people keep on. I barely even mention Mane, but people, because they know he was my favorite player, they'll like keep saying stuff about it. But I think it's a bit blind to not see that losing Mane is a massive blow to the team. And
the team wasn't built around him, though.
No, the team wasn't built around him, but he was our best player. He was our best player. Regardless of whether his stats said it or not, Mane was our best player. So losing him was a massive deal. Like it was and I think people have kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. So because we can't see him, that you kind of forget a bit. But I'm watching the team and I'm thinking, who's the clutch player in the team now? who's
In
and I'm not
Salah,
saying we can't. I'm not saying we can't get goals. Yeah, but Salah is clutch, but not clutch. Like he doesn't have the regularity of clutch moments. He's just a good player in it, and he does well. But I don't know how many times I can remember where like we were down and out, and Salah's come up with the clutch. Like I'm trying to, if you can remind me, but I don't remember too many, so I don't necessarily know.
bruv, there's been loads since he's been there.
Are there like clutch moments?
Yes, Drift.
Yeah, I don't think he was as clutch as Mane personally.
I don't understand why we're still comparing the two. We
I
had
wasn't
two of
even
them at the
making
same.
a
No, I'm not
comparison.
saying you, but like we had both of them at the time when they were both in their peak. They both were amazing for us. Mane wanted to move on. None of us wanted him to. He did. He moved on. Like to say Salah's a backup man or a side man to Mane, that's wild.
But I don't know why people are saying that.
Like neither of them were a backup or a side man to each other. They were both sick, and they were both sick for Liverpool. Why is it we do this? Like I never hear someone say, "You see Ribery, yeah, he was a side man to Robin," or "You see Robin, he was a side man to Ribery." They were both just sick, and they were both at
Facts.
Liverpool at the same time.
It's weird.
We've lost
innit?
Mane. Was
It's
always
weird
going to
when
be a
people do
big
that.
void to fill, but to act like Mane leaving means that Salah's being exposed or Salah's being shown to be rubbish now. Come on, man.
Is that actually what people are saying? I'm
Well, that's kind of what was being alluded to in the super chat and other people saying. Like, Mane wasn't the system. The system built around the fullbacks. Hence why we're sitting there screaming for creativity from midfield. Mane and Salah never had the team built around them. There was little nuances that helped them to perform, but that happens with every team. The team is built around Trent and Robbo. Hence why when they don't create, we don't score. I don't get how we don't see that by now. That's why we've all been screaming for a midfielder so we can change that. Let Mane live, man. Let him leave as a legend. Let him live and treat Salah like the legend that we still have.
Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that we are struggling to cope without him, though, in my opinion. I think the transition is proving to be very difficult.
I think we're struggling to cope with him leaving, but also because of what we've done or the lack of what we've done and the tactics.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a mixture of everything.
Vex Blazer says, bro, I've just finished reading Intensity. Man, like J.K. Linder's basically laid out the blueprint on how we play. Make it make sense, sackable.
Bex Blazer, are you actually telling the truth? Because I actually want to know what's in the book. So are you actually?
I think I'm gonna buy the book.
Did you actually?
I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy the book and send it to you, man. Still,
Don't send it to me, bro.
Yeah,
I'll send it to all of it, so we can all have it, so we can all read it together, innit?
Don't send that to me, man.
Yeah, all read it together, bro.
What you say? Should we do a watch along for it?
It's all I'm saying.
Bro.
If that book arrives,
every man do a chapter each.
Yeah, everyone do a chapter each. Let's do a watch along for it.
if that book arrives
I
at my
swear,
house, you're not gonna get it in the condition that you gave it to me, and that's all I'm saying, man.
Oh, what, is it going to
You
the
might want to
used
buy
pile
2
already?
copies. You're gonna want to buy 2
can't.
copies.
I just can't, bro. Because if that is the case, what people are saying, then I can't even.
Jay the activist says, why do we never try any through balls to Darwin? He's better with his feet than in the air despite his height. The numbers at Benfica said it all.
I've been saying we're not playing any type of football that
I agree with that, you know.
What I will say is, yeah.
Matt, take that off the screen, please, bro.
That's not me, bro. Why am I putting that on the screen? That was drift.
What I will say is, as a striker myself, obviously I didn't play at the elite level, but as a striker, it's not an excuse when I say to you a striker is only as good as the team that's playing behind him. Like, honestly, like I know a lot of people will always lay the blame at the striker, and maybe it's fair because the striker will get more plaudits. Like, a team could play well, but if you score the winning goal, you'll be seen as the hero when, you know, all you did was tap it in after everybody else done the other stuff. So maybe that's why you get the rough and you get the smooth more, and it balances itself out. But I'm telling you, as a striker, you're only as good as the team playing behind you. and this team doesn't play well enough and doesn't create enough chances with frequency to really have a pop at the striker. It doesn't, especially not this season. Maybe in the past, maybe not so. We did create a lot of chances, generally speaking, across the last 4 years or whatever. But this season, we are kind of, and the thing is, the chances always seem to be like half chances. We're not creating many like real good open chances, and I think that's more what I'm annoyed about. Like I don't see a lot of just clear chances, like them kind of chances that we used to. Like Salah and Mane used to get so many clear chances, and it was beautiful to watch, and they'd get a lot of goals from it. And now I'm like, we don't really get many clear chances, man. Like even if you go back and watch the Bournemouth game, quite a lot of the goals weren't clear chances. It was just brilliant finishing. Like they weren't exactly the most clearest of. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like look at Firmino's goal, where like it took the deflection and then he pounced on it. That was good predatory instinct. You know what I mean? Like it didn't come from anything great. Like, you know, just as an example, like, I don't know, I'm just looking at it and I'm just thinking, where's like Elliot's goal? Brilliant finish. But it wasn't a clear opportunity. Like all jokes aside, it was a poor touch from Bobby that actually set him up and then he just finished it brilliantly. Like, do you know what I mean? Like there's not that many clear chances that we're actually creating. I'm just thinking, what's happening to our overall gameplay? It's baffling, man. It's baffling.
Well, Tahir says, how can Liverpool fans say at least we kept a clean sheet? I'm not sure. Did we win or something? A draw is a loss, complete, utter failure. Yeah, I don't get that.
A draw is definitely a loss when you've got Man City just winning week in, week out.
Guna Lee says, I think Trent felt guilt for his terrible performance in his calf. Klopp is doing his best Wenger impression right now. Make sure you win at Man United tomorrow. That's all I'm saying. Ty says it's still real Klopp on Trent because it's more injuries racking up, just like the Dortmund games. Way too much mileage in those legs. Remember what I said to you at the end of last season? Feels like a Michael Owen situation. Maybe not as bad. Trent has played way too much football between the ages of 17, 18 to 23 years old. Way too much. Especially in today's game. CJ1 says, no verbal, but the defending of Costas from some man is crazy. Didn't offer nothing, no attacking threat. Percy disagree.
I don't think he had as good as a game as you do. I do feel like I'm a bit baffled as to why you gave him an 8, but
I mean, I thought he was making overlaps really well. I feel he's linking up with Diaz well. I thought the majority of his crosses were good. I do think, obviously, that chance he had where he's gone with it with his left instead of his right, I think he should have done better there. I think overall, his defensive output, I thought was really good as well.
I thought he had a good game, but I don't think, because I don't even remember him creating a chance that was actually like a proper chance. But
Voice of Reason says, has Klopp ever rebuilt a winning team? Is there a possibility he's become stale at Liverpool?
Do you know what? Can I just answer this? Because he's never had an opportunity to rebuild a team. He really hasn't. And shout out James Redmond, who said this on the Big Six the other day. Everybody's looking at this 7th season and then going, oh, this happened when he was at Things. So everybody just seems to think it's just automatically going to happen again. Like that's just how life is. Like there's just these rules to football and it's just going to happen. If that was the case, there'd be so many things in life that wouldn't have happened. Do you know what I mean? And if you go back and look at his 5th season at Dortmund, he had a good year. I think he made the Champions League in his 5th year at Dortmund, if I'm not mistaken.
In his last year, it was 5th year.
No, in his 5th year at Dortmund, I think he made the Champions League final, didn't he? In his 5th year at Dortmund.
I can't
Whereas
remember.
At Liverpool in his 5th year, we nearly didn't make top 4. So it's like, so what are the rules there then? Do you know what I mean? Like it's too reactionary to just go, oh, well, in his 7th season at Dortmund, he was bad, so he's going to be bad in his 7th season at Liverpool. Like, he never had an opportunity at Mainz and Dortmund to rebuild squads. They didn't have the finances and they weren't the type of teams to do that. And here's another thing as well. If you lot disagree with me, then that's fine. But isn't building a team the same as rebuilding a team in theory?
No.
Well, what's the difference?
The difference is when you're building, you're bringing in your players. When you're rebuilding, you're having to sell some of your players and then buy new players to start the cycle again.
No, but the theory of it is you replace somebody who isn't good with somebody who's better. So if you can come into a dead team like the one we had and build a team that goes on to dominate along with Man City in the Premier League, like theoretically, you built a team and there's no difference other than maybe loyalty to a player you like.
That is the biggest
But
thing,
that's not what people are saying when they say that, though, Cal. When they say he don't have the ability to rebuild, they mean he's just not good at doing it.
Well, I think it goes. I think
I don't know. I find it a bit weird.
I think it goes to loyalty, and I also think it goes to the identity of the rebuild. Like for me, the problem I'm having with the rebuild is you've got your 30-year-olds crop, like your Hendersons, your Flaccos, Virgils, Matips, Firmino, Salah, and then it kind of drops, and then you've got your 19-year-olds. If I'm not mistaken, it's only really Jota, Tsimikas, and Diaz who are in that 23 to 28-year-old bracket who are like knocking on the door to start. But even when you look at those three, it seems as though Jota's not a starter and neither is Tsimikas in his eyes. So it's like you're going from the 30-year-old straight to like the 18, 19-year-olds. For me, that's not a rebuild. That's almost like you're just buying new stuff. And like, where's there's no transition. You need the middle bit to help it transition. And I think that's what part of the problem is as well. But the loyalty for me is the biggest thing.
Effectively, even though I get the logic of what you're saying, a rebuild will still need a period of time where you're not good while you get used to what's new. The same way when you first come in, you're not great straight away and then you build on it. And I'm sure if we go back and look at some of the rebuilds other big and great managers have done, there might have been evidence of a drop-off. Like I remember when it got to a point where Ferguson, there was like conversations of saying that should he maybe be let go, because I think he went 3 years where he didn't win, but Man United like weren't actually good during that period of time. Maybe that was when he was in the middle of one of his rebuilds. Like I'm just saying, like if you're rebuilding, wouldn't expectations during that time maybe need to drop off a little bit? If you're rebuilding like us, like as an example of like City, if they do a rebuild, they've got so much financial power. They do just go out and flex their muscle and then make sure the players coming in is of an absolute top quality majority of the time, because they can just do that. But if you're under a restraint financially like we are, would your rebuild not need some time for that? Well, we may have to temper the expectations for a little bit while this happens, because we've got to go back and then come back again. Is that not? And I'm not even saying that's a fact. I'm just playing devil's advocate and just asking.
For me, that's not even devil's advocate. And this is what I was going to say. That's where FSG come in for me, and this is where the conversation has to open up and be like, well, how much are you man putting into the rebuild? Because if you're not putting into the rebuild properly, then we're going to be in this situation.
Well, Cal, in the last 18 months, which is when the rebuild started, how much have they put in, bro? Not much.
Not precisely, which is why, as I keep on saying, I was on them last summer, was on them in January, and I've been on them this summer. But again, I can't not see what the other issues are.
Klopp's always, we say it all the time. We say it all the time. And I think everybody can agree on this. We are always a year or two behind because of the way our transfer committee and the way we've had to move. So Klopp probably wanted to do this rebuild quite a while ago, but he hasn't really been allowed to.
But that's
think about it. If we'd have got a backup for left back earlier, backup for right back earlier, backup for Salah. If these things had happened earlier in Klopp's reign, he would be a lot further along in his rebuild.
You say that though, Drift. We've had Tsimikas for how long now? And look at the situation Tsimikas is still in.
I know, but that's kind of the only example, really. Like,
is it?
We still haven't got a right back cover. We still haven't got.
We have got right back cover. He decided to go and get Calvin Ramsey. He could have got
Spence. All right, but he's only been here for a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? Like the majority of his reign, he had no cover, no real cover for Trent, because he wasn't given the funds to actually go and get a proper backup.
He saw Milner as Joe Gomez as the backups.
No. I definitely believe that was down to the funding. Salah having no backup is down to the funding. Mane had no backup theoretically.
So when he turns around and says he doesn't want to block the pathway of certain players, and remember that AXA training ground is situated at a point where he can see both sides of the coin. He can see the youth being developed and he can see his first team.
He's only been saying that for the last 6 months, guys, like blocking the pathway. He hasn't been saying that for like the last 3 years. This goes back to the Champions League final, Calvin. We didn't do anything after that.
But he is saying it now, though, Drift. So I've got to judge him on now. When he's
but I'm talking about he might have wanted to start this rebuild quite a while ago. But like he just hasn't really been, like we said, we're always a summer or two behind, right? We're next summer FC. So if you think about it, his hands have been tied for a very long time. Maybe we wouldn't be so far back in our rebuild if he'd always been given more funding and more backing for us to not get to the point where we're at this point we're at now, where we got all these kids in the team. Do you get what I'm saying?
But maybe we'd also be further ahead in the rebuild if he wasn't being blindly loyal to some players as well, Drew.
I mean, there is some truth to that. I still think it's the backing that's a lot more of the issue rather than his loyalty, but I don't know.
Ensman says, we look like a team with no ideas. I think you all have great points, but Klopp needs to change the shape or the tactics as they don't work with us. 3-4-3 would. We did it late on and looked good. Big up yourself, Ensman TV.
Yeah, big up.
Ty says, Mo can't protect or hold the ball. It's not tactics. That I agree with.
I think he's rushing things, though. Do you know what I mean? You know, like what Matt said earlier with Nunes, where it is a bit like stop rushing it. But if you know you're the talisman for the team, maybe you can't help it to a degree. Like, because you know the onus is on you, and you know, like what people do, they're just going to flood to blame you if we don't win the game. Remember, they're only humans, you know. Salah knows this. Salah knows if he doesn't score and Liverpool don't win the game, he's getting the blame. He does.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, true.
The narrative amongst everybody else will be every other rival fan is going to jump on Twitter and start blaming Salah for why we didn't win today. And he knows this. He's a human.
Eastwood says lack of Bobby will hurt Salah's goal scoring. Darwin isn't a real threat yet, so defense will double down on Salah. Weird take, but moving Diaz down the middle will shake Ish up. Remember the Crystal Palace game?
Not when we've got Jota and Nunes, though, Eastwood. There's no need to do that. And then who plays on the left?
That's what I was going to say. Tahir says, when Mane was there, it was competition between Mane and Salah and Jota, etc. But sadly, we sold Mane, who was a creative player. Are we going backwards? Mane wasn't really that creative.
Mane was more of our direct player. Like the one who would just go for the jugular, kind of.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Mane wasn't that creative.
In my opinion, when Mane went centrally after AFCON, I don't know if I've ever seen us look that potent since the Bobby 17, 18 type of times. Like once Mane went down the middle, we were dangerous as fuck. Like we were scaring teams. Like,
I agree.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just remembering that FA Cup game against Man City when we tore them a new one. And I just wish I could find that at Liverpool. Where's that Liverpool, man?
Liverpool in April, bro. Tibbo says Haaland's been on that level for 3 years. Nunes ain't. Agreed.
True.
Zabiri says, let's face it, we got 80 mil Maguire up front. No, I'm not going to go that far.
No, Zabiri, no. Come on.
80 mil Maguire.
And he's 64 mil unless he does well.
Saswat says lack of technical plays. Players can't play on the half turn. Lazy hoofing ball. Leave gaps everywhere because of the mindless pressing. Think the training focuses on the wrong areas. Also goes on to say, if you ask Linders to incorporate one training session, what would it be? For me, it would be to have more ball carrying sessions. For me, it'd be working on patterns on how to break down a low block.
Yeah, facts. Patterns of play, bro. Like,
actually, no. Do you know what it would be for me? I wouldn't even let them use a ball for 4 out of the 5 training sessions a week. It would all just be about ball retention.
So you said you wouldn't let them have the ball?
So I wouldn't let them have goals. Sorry.
Oh.
I would just be all about ball retention. No shooting, none, like nothing to do with it. Just all be about ball retention. That's all I would.
Funny
have
you
to
say
do,
that
just ball
because we got. Funny you said that. I'm not just saying that because we bought him, but Arthur's ball retention is actually kind of sick.
Yeah,
And a
yeah, it
game
is.
like
That's why I started to see the logic behind it.
yeah, and a game like today, you just think, bro, like, why not utilize him in a double pivot? Because you got one that can keep hold of the ball very, very well, and the other guy's a destroyer. And it's like,
PP says, I think Klopp is finding it difficult to change his own team that he created. When he came, he changed a team someone else built. Now he has to change his own team and tactics. That's hard for him. That's the point I was
I
making
agree
on
with
the
that.
rebuild.
Do you know?
Can
Do you know what I was
I
gonna
tell
say
you
as
what?
well?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, just quickly, what I was gonna say is
Mm.
new ideas, fresh impetus. I think that's a hard thing to do because you got to refresh things. Because when people work you out, you've therefore got to go, all right, they've caught onto us a little bit, but let's not revolution, even if you say evolution and not revolution, because you can't revolutionize everything, but a little evolution every now and again. Because even Man City, like, they have tweaked little things. They've evolutionized a little bit because of they've now had to incorporate Haaland, but they haven't revolutionized. That's all we're asking from us. Like, I get it. Like, we don't, it's frustrating because we don't have, I'm gonna be real in it. We don't really have to change like other clubs. Like, we got to work on a particular budget. However, like, what we do get, like what we do have, we should still be able to evolutionize. And some things are, this is where it kind of goes away from FSG. Let's just take FSG out of the equation for a minute. The players that play today, they are better than what they showed today. And tactically, we could do better than what we showed today. So even though I understand a lot of the issues are with FSG and how we are run as a club and how we don't spend no peas, because that's facts, yeah. And Klopp is working on a budget compared to everyone, compared to everyone else. The players that are there, it's like what they're instructed to do. I'm like, bro, like, when we get the ball in midfield, why is every man acting like the ball's gonna bite you back? Like, is the ball gonna put a laser like in your belly or something? Why is every man acting booky? We weren't doing that as much last season. Yeah, there were times when we would laugh and go, "Oh, see what happens when this combination of midfielders are playing." But if you look at the way how we were playing last season, especially like halfway through the season, we were playing way better than how we're playing now. It's so weird, bro. I can't lie
No,
to you.
what you're saying is actually true. But here's one thing I
Crazy.
just want to say quickly. While I'm starting to realize, is there a false narrative building up that's very easy to come to the conclusion of, but it's not actually true. People are saying that Klopp is poor at rebuilding and he's being low to players. I'm not saying he doesn't have a loyalty within him that can be bad. Yeah, I'm not saying that at all, because I think we all agree that there is sometimes where he's very low. I will take a page out of 12 Man's book though, and I'll say loyalty and emotion have to be involved in football because it's what makes football football. It's very easy for people to sit back and say at home, "I'll just get rid of that guy." What, the guy who's given you all that love and success and loyalty from himself, and now you're just saying get rid of it. It's very easy to say that. That is one thing. A 12 man's got 100% point on that. Bobby has ran himself into the ground and followed every instruction Klopp has asked of him since he got here. And then you just want Klopp to turn his back on him because you don't think he's good enough anymore. You can't just act like that's like he's not human and that isn't a part of it. So you do have to figure that in. But we look at our main team, our main team. Robbo's still in his 20s. So even though he has been ran into the ground, he's still in his 20s. So him playing isn't that crazy. He's still in his 20s. Trent has been ran into the ground, yes, but he's only 23. Ibu is our starting lineup centre back now if everybody's fit, I believe, with Van Dijk. Personally,
I think it's Matip.
I mean, either or, but I think there's a strong argument from a lot of the big games last season. He's kind of preferring Ibu a bit now, which is a transition, which he's done very well. He's brought Ibu in and he's put Ibu in, and I think he relies on him now. Then you move into midfield. If he could stay fit, Thiago is our starting lineup midfielder. And I do believe it would be Thiago, Elliott, and Flacco if everybody was fit. I know everybody thinks he does have the mad loyalty to Henderson and Milner, but I do believe it would be Thiago, Flacco, and Elliott if everybody was fit. I think he even did it at the beginning of last season, if I'm not sure, when Henderson come back from his fitness issues, but he's still stuck with that three. But then obviously Thiago and Elliott had their injuries. And then up front, Jota isn't one of our old school players. Nunes isn't one of our old school players. And neither is Diaz. So Salah is the only one left in our front. So if you did our first 11, if there was no injuries involved whatsoever, half the team is new. Half the team is new. Elliott is new. Thiago's new. Ibu's new, Diaz is new, Jota or Nunes are new. That's 6 out of the 11 that are new, but they're always injured, and we got all these complications with their availability. So is there not a bit of a false narrative being spun? He has changed the team. The players are just injured all the time.
But it's about the tactics, bro. Like, we're not saying
No.
Like,
I get that, but I'm talking about the actual personnel. People are saying he can't build a new squad, Matt. But 6 out of the 11 players are new.
That's true.
So
I think
he is rebuilding a new squad.
For me, I think he's rebuilding. I don't. Yeah, I disagree with not what you said.
It's a false narrative to a degree, in my opinion.
I disagree with what people is. Yeah, I disagree with the whole he can't rebuild. My only issue, as things stand right now, with Klopp, is the tactics, not the personnel. The tactics, bro. You see our midfield, yeah. We might not necessarily have the greatest technicians in there, but they can do more with the ball. They can. They're more than capable. They are. 100%. This whole notion of give the ball to Trent Alexander-Arnold because he's the greatest right back of all time and he can play the perfect ball. Bro, we got to stop doing that. We got to stop doing that. We really do. It's almost like how we're looking for like that easy way out because we know Trent is an outlet. We know if we give him the ball, he's so good, Cal, on his day, he can pick out any pass in world football. But we've got to come away from that. We have to go into like a system that works for us. A system that means that you can break a team down. You know how to utilize like the strengths of the players that you have. I'm really hoping Klopp gives Artur a chance, you know. And I know I'm not just saying that because we've signed him. His playing style, what I'm used to seeing him do at Gremio and Barca, less about Juve, is keeping hold of the ball and being progressive. I really hope we utilize that. I really do, bro.
Same. Jamro says Company and Silva are 36 years old and now.
Yeah, but Fernandinho and Company were still way past their best before they left, which is the point I was making. And Aguero was way past his best before he left. So City do hold on to old players.
Vince's Viewpoint says, what did Salah do today to stay unsubbed? Worried about Salah? He stayed on the pitch because we have no one to sub him for, bro. Gareth says, I don't think we're making top 4 at this rate. Oh, at this rate, we aren't making top 4.
Yeah, we're struggling right now. We're outside.
Larko76 says, system is the issue. If Salah and Diaz are to stay out wide for Darwin, then why do we still play that way when he's not on the pitch? Revert back. This whole thing of Salah and Diaz staying wide for Darwin only works if you have a runner from the middle of the park.
Midfield. Yeah, bro, I swear to you.
Which we don't have because even Artur ain't that.
Just so look, all you have to do is look at Chelsea with Drogba. Who was the runner from midfield? Frank Lampard.
And SDM, to be honest.
Brother.
Like, it's just so basic.
Arsenal in their heyday had Vieira making the runs for midfield. Liverpool in their thingy had Gerrard making the runs for midfield. It's true. You've got to have that midfielder that has the dynamism and the goal scoring prowess.
Ross, you're solely expecting Darwin to get all the goals and to win every header. It's impossible.
It's that we're forced. This is what I'm trying to say.
Sorry, Matt. You see, City.
Go.
I've realised the reason why City win everything and are so good is because they have midfield goal scorers and they have players in midfield that are all willing to take the responsibility of getting involved. Every single one of them. Apart from Rodri, who actually scores bangers as well every now and again, every midfielder in the Man City team wants to get on the goal scoring sheet. Every single one of them. Gundogan is actually a bit of a goal scoring G. De Bruyne speaks for itself. Foden always chips in with goals. Like they actually have like Silva, Bernardo chips in with goals. All of their midfielders want to score goals. That's the important part. Not just are capable, they want to score goals. We don't have that. We don't have anyone in our midfield who wants to score goals. I don't know, man. It's mad.
Jamrock says, how are Brighton playing better football than us?
Brighton might play the best football in the league, Jamrock, if I'm being completely honest.
Pimp in Distress says, when we lose, everyone is a professor of hindsight. When we win, hindsight is rarely talked about. Life ain't that simple. That's true as well.
Very good.
I hear that, bro. I hear that.
Like the Milner substitution, it's hindsight.
Can't do
I disagree, Drew.
JG like Joey Gomez like that. He stopped some attacks. I'll be honest, Drift. I disagree with the Milner thing. Like,
Same.
it shouldn't have been him today.
Yeah,
No, but like I said,
sometimes.
but like I said, it is hindsight because he was very good against Newcastle. So it is hindsight.
No, but what I'm
It
trying to
is.
say is for this game, you can see like what's going on, and you think to yourself, okay, what player would you bring on? Like in my personal opinion, I wouldn't have thought of at any moment when Klopp made those changes, we need to bring on Milner. Like
All
me
right,
personally,
let me
do you know what I'm trying to say?
give you let me give you an example. Just that might make you see where I'm coming from, though. Joey G, I think, was doing quite well defensively, give or take the odd thing, but I think it was his passing that was horrendous today. And we need width because there's a low block, right? So if he goes Joey at right back and then puts Matip at midfield in centre back, that's what everybody said he should do, right? But if Gomez continues his poor passing into poor crossing at right back, and then we don't get that width, and then he's not really helping have any width, and then we still draw the game or we lose or something, I can guarantee you now, everybody's sitting here saying, why the fuck did he put Joey at right back? Because hindsight would have been at that moment, that epiphany. Do you get where I'm coming from? And I'm not even saying people that said play Milner, but then there would have been a point where I would have probably even reminded people, maybe should have went Milner at right back. Milner came on against Newcastle and did well. Yeah, do you know what? That probably would have been better than Joey. Joey was not passing well today. Why put him if you're trying to get width and crosses? Why put the person who's having a poor game in that respect? Do you get what I mean? So hindsight always plays a role, guys. Always. Joey was not playing well with his passing at all. So putting him at right back made no sense because he would have just been putting crap passes and crap crosses into the box, right? Do you get what I'm saying? So hindsight always plays a part, bro. It always does.
I'm just gonna say one thing. Who was playing on the left today for Everton though?
Gordon.
Was it Gordon?
Gordon.
I think, yeah.
He's quick, and you're playing James Milner. And remember, you're away from home, crowd are on it. They're gonna want like Gordon to go at Milner, and that's why what you're saying isn't wrong because I agree. Gomez passing was atrocious. So what's he gonna do at right back? However, at least from an athletic point of view, he can maybe able to nullify Gordon a bit more. You putting James Milner there is basically saying, as long as we've got the ball, we can make something happen. But Klopp, what happens if we lose the ball? What happens then? And we saw it on a few occasions even when he was like moved into midfield, because it's like you're trying to negate away from him being on the flank and being isolated. It's like it didn't make a difference. All it is that there's just times to play James Milner and there's times to not play James Milner. I think that's what it comes down to. And I think, furthermore, that's every player. You got to look at it from a tactical point of view and go, I don't need him today. Nah, this game don't require him, but it requires him. And I felt like Klopp did the whole revert back to type thing, Drift. And that's why I think people are frustrated. And that stems from like the Tsimikas and Robbo thing.
Anthony says Salah's created the most chances in the league. That is also true. That is true.
I don't know, man. Yeah.
No, that's statistically fact.
No, that is, but context still has to be added to it. And
No, agreed.
Really,
agreed.
You know what I mean? Had any clear-cut chances? How good were the chances he was creating? So it can go both ways.
James says, think Drift is right. I think we as a club can go to the next level with the right owners, right morals, but invest in the squad more. 100%.
I agree with that. Yeah, of course we can. Deeper pockets.
Pimp in the Stress says, if Bobby had started and got injured, we'd all be saying, why not start Nunes? Klopp era, hindsight gate. True. Yeah, but also Pimp in the Stress, you got to take the risk sometimes. I don't think it was a risk starting Bobby today when you could play Nunes in the Napoli game and start him in that game. And I think you've got a little bit more leeway. Like, don't get me wrong, if you lose or draw your first game in the Champions League, it's not ideal, but at least you still got a chance to rectify it with 5 games left. Today was a must win. Every game from now until City start dropping points is a must win now.
Here's the thing though, Cal, why again, the hindsight thing, I get where Pim's coming from. What has Bobby been struggling with in the last 18 months? Fitness.
No, form as well.
But the fitness is causing the form because he keeps getting injured.
A bit of both.
His hamstrings look like they're not the strongest. Playing in 3 games in a row probably is a bad decision. It probably is. Again, it's a hindsight thing, isn't it? He's right. If Bobby pulls his hamstring today, we're probably like, Nunes is on the bench. We know Bobby's fitness ain't the greatest.
But he played 45 minutes, so...
Yeah, no, but 45 is a lot different to a whole 90, though, isn't it? When you've
But
played.
that's what I'm saying. If he started, he might not have had to have played the night because we could have built up a lead and then Nunes could have come on.
Yeah, obviously it can work both ways, but I get Pimp's point. Like, we can't run Bobby into the ground when fitness has been his issue for the last 12 months. Do you get what I mean? Like, he is becoming a bit of an injury-prone player, so we can't just rinse him out. Do you know what I mean? So it can work both ways.
Sorry, guys, I need to shoot. Love you, man. Remember, people, make sure you subscribe already. And if you haven't hit it, smash that like button. I'll be back on Monday. These lot will finish off the show. But yeah, man, it wasn't to be today, man. It wasn't to be today. But yeah, we moved.
Doesn't look like it's meant to be this season.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but yeah, we move. But cool. Love you lot. Love as always, people.
Omar says, mad we win when both on form together, not otherwise. I think that was Salah and Mane. Liverpool 12th man says, Everton acted like a draw was a win, got what they wanted. Facts.
Yeah, they did. That's a fact.
Messi FC says, Cal said, take that off with intensity still. That was when the book was brought up. Shaka says, why don't we create through the middle? Our forwards are starved because we have no one through the middle to create, bro. Tactically, that's tactics. Calm says, who passed the ball for DW?
Darwin. Is it Darwin he means?
No.
Diogo. Yeah, who is DW actually? He must mean Darwin, surely. Because I'm trying. Who else is DW? Do we even have a player with W in their surname as their surname?
Not that I can think. Must be Nunes.
Diogo Jota. I'm trying to think who could that have been.
No idea.
Yeah,
Jericho said this is all on Klopp. We have players for the 4-2-3-1, not 4-3-3 anymore. Trent needs to start playing centre midfield to have more creativity in midfield, in my opinion.
I'm warming to the idea of him being a midfielder. I am.
We ain't gonna get a top right back though.
Well, yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
So we're weakening one position to strengthen another. Hay says Klopp is a victim of his own success in developing players, and FSG is cheap, so they want Klopp to develop players when they need already established players to contend right now. Facts. Omar says, is Mane 3 midfielders and a winger? Issues run deeper than him. Facts. Tahir says, we got Napoli on Wednesday night. Just saying. Yeah, if we thought Everton were tough to break down, then whoa.
Yeah.
Abubakar says, would you swap FSG for the Glazers? No. Just to clear up one thing on the Glazers. Everyone keeps on saying why Man United fans mad because they're spending money. The Glazers aren't spending their money. That's money from the club. That's money the club have generated over years. Generational wealth is funding Manchester United, not the owners. The owners are actually liquidating the club as we speak. They are taking money out of the club. FSG aren't doing that. As much as we may disagree and dislike some of the things they do, Glazers I would not want anywhere near Liverpool Football Club. They're not even in the same remit.
Here's the one thing I will say though, Cal. Don't most major companies kind of use their own like pool and their own equity to do certain things? Like I remember when Mo Chatra came on, when we had him on, didn't he say the majority of clubs always run at a debt? And like people act like that's not like that's actually a normal, regular thing in football.
No, running in debt is different to them taking money out of the club.
No, I get it. They have like a £12 million or £15 million dividends every year that they take out.
Baloo, who said ahead, they take dividends out every 3 months. That's
no. Which becomes about 15 million for the year or something. I get that. That is bad. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, like, the debt is against the valuation of the club, though, right? And most people do operate like that. Like Tottenham, there's loads of clubs who operate like that, where there's a debt on the club, but the club makes so much money, it's easy to maintain the debt. So it's brilliant that we don't run like that. It is brilliant, like when you're looking at the picture of like from a business point of view, but that's not helping us on the pitch, though. Do Do you get what I mean? So I can't be too mad at a club for doing what Tottenham and Man U and some other clubs do, because
Tottenham aren't doing
it
what
is
Man U do. Tottenham aren't doing what Man U do.
but they still run at a debt, though. They
No,
are
but
still in a debt,
this
and they
isn't
use the
about
club's
running at a
value
debt.
to
This
pay
is
off the debt.
they are literally, they have Man United as a cash income for their personal wealth. Like,
No, I get it, but they do still make sure that Man United are constantly upgrading, and even if it's in the wrong way, trying to move forward. So you can look at it from both sides. Like every summer, Man United spend money and they try, even if they're doing it the wrong way, their heart's in the right place, if you get what I mean.
their
Like they're
heart's
doing
not in
what
the
you
right place, Drift.
Bruv, giving the manager money for what he thinks, even
No,
if it's the wrong manager, it's still trying to do the right thing, so
no,
to
Drift.
speak.
I think we've got to get this narrative of just because someone spends money, it means they love something. It doesn't.
No,
They just
I'm
have
not saying
money.
no. I don't think they love Man United. But if they think Ollie's the right man for the job, that might be the mistake. But they backed him. If they think Ten Hag is the right man for the job, it might be a mistake. But they backed him.
They
So
didn't back it,
the
Drift. They
point
just
I'm
said there's
making
money
is
there. Spend it if you want to spend it.
that's backing, bro.
That's not
back.
backing, bro.
What
That's
more
like
can the owner do to show he's backing you than to say whoever you want, I'll get it for you?
set up a structure that allows you to succeed, not just be happy with getting top four and not take dividends out of the club.
No, I get that, but I'm talking about for the backing of the manager.
But what have they done for the
What more
stadium and
can
all
he
that, bro?
do?
They ain't put no money into the stadium.
Yeah, I
No.
get all that, Bob. I don't think the Glazers are good owners. I'm just saying I think it goes a bit too far of saying that they're shit owners. I think that's too far to say they're
They
shit
are,
owners.
Drift. They're
And
terrible owners.
I don't think they're shit owners
How can
they're
they
not
not be,
shit.
bro?
because they still back every manager with a massive transfer kitty to try and make the on-field stuff as good as it can be. If it might not work out, but they still back every
not their
manager.
money, it's the club's money. They
Yeah,
just
but
say,
it's not
okay, spend
FSG's
it then.
money that we spend. It's the club's money. It's the same thing.
Hence why we speak about FSG the way we do, but at least they ain't taking dividends out and all that, bro.
In fact, I think apart from Abramovich, nobody spends their own money. It's always the club's money, isn't it?
Bro, the Glazers are, I would want them nowhere near, bro.
No, I don't want the Glazers. I'm just saying I think it's too far to call them shit owners. I think when people say they're shit owners, they're taking it too far. That's all I'm saying.
I disagree. Omar says, so tell me, if Mo was sold instead, would we be on top? Absolutely not.
No, not at all.
Messi FC says, how is this a transition season if it's the same team? One of the oldest teams in the league. Players look lost in a system that is 5 years old. # new system. Yeah,
we do need a new system.
Shaka A says Prime DVD didn't play this way. Why can't we have? I'm guessing have Buvac. Buvac and Klopp ain't seen eye to eye. Tev said companies a screamer to win City the title, shipped off next season. That's the difference. Ruthlessness.
He was always going to leave though, Tev. That was planned even before he scored that banger.
Jamie
Mike
says,
Ashley is a shit owner. That's an example of a shit owner.
yeah, no, of course he is, but the Glazers are as well.
I would say that. I would say they're just like average owners. I wouldn't say they're shit owners.
Okay. Jamie says, I'm done with Klopp, and if half our team is new, then Klopp is getting new players. Potter at Brighton plays better football with worse players. What I will say on the Potter thing, and I'm probably his biggest fan on the channel, one thing we have to understand is Brighton do play better, more attractive football, but teams don't set up to play a low block against Brighton. Teams play very different against us than what they do against Brighton. They have a go at Brighton because they look at Brighton as inferior to Liverpool, because they are. So it's two different styles.
And they don't, what do you call it? They don't have as much pressure. In fact, they have barely any pressure in comparison to Liverpool as well.
Jamrock says, looks like we've been outrun every game this season. Apparently so. That was the one thing you could guarantee from a Liverpool team. You ain't going to outrun us, and that ain't happening now. Calm says maybe Artur will be playing most of the Champions League games. Maybe. Guy Fawkes says, sorry, Drift, as a United fan, you're completely wrong.
Yeah, that's fair. The United fans are in their feelings about the Glazers, so I know there's no point having, and obviously they know more than me about the Glazers, but I still find it a mad one, because as Liverpool fans, we moan about the fact that we don't spend money, right? And I think if you look at the Arsenal situation, their owners are very. In fact, they used to have the argument. Arsenal, Man United used to have the argument, yeah, that who's got the worst owner out of Glazers and what's his name again? The Arsenal owner, Kroenke. That was a legit argument. If there's any Arsenal fans in there, they can back me up. I've watched legit arguments. Who's got the worst owners? And they used to go back and forward on who's got the worst owners. Arsenal aren't moaning about their owners anymore as soon as they start spending money. I haven't heard any Arsenal fan moan about their owners for about 12 months. So what was so bad about them as owners? They didn't spend money. That was what the complaint was. Their owner does pretty much what the Glazers do. He takes loans out on the club, funds things in America using Arsenal's equity. He does all kind of shit. There is an argument he is worse than the Glazers. There seriously is. As soon as he started spending money, Arsenal fans shut up. So the point I'm trying to make is, even though the Glazers ain't great owners, yes, that's a fact. They've never neglected the squad, ever. So as bad as they are at a lot of aspects, they have never neglected the squad. And what we have to be honest with is that is what we moan about. We always moan that FSG neglect the squad. So I'm not saying they're great owners. I'm not saying they're brilliant. Yes, there's hella mistakes they make. And there's a lot of stuff they should be doing better. But one thing you cannot say is they don't back the manager and they neglect the squad. Man United have spent the most money in the last decade out of every single team in world football. More than Real Madrid, more than Man City, more than PSG, more than everybody. Man United on their playing squad have spent the most money in the last decade. So the one thing the Glazers do not do is neglect the playing staff. And that is the most important thing, according to a lot of our fan base. What happens on the pitch is what matters. I don't care how much profit we make. What the fuck? What's the point of being the next Ben Kings? What do we get a trophy for that? Like, it's literally the Liverpool argument amongst our fan base. So I'm not sitting here saying that they're great owners. They are not great owners by far. They're just average owners, though. They're not shit owners. They never neglect the playing squad. They don't. They just don't. And I'm sorry, even if they get the transfers wrong because they don't have the right people in the place, they still spend a bag of money on their playing squad. And Ten Hag might get it right now. And then you won't hear no Glazers out if Ten Hag starts competing again, I'll tell you that much. So I'm just saying.
Fair enough. I still think they're rubbish owners and I wouldn't swap them for FSG.
No, I wouldn't swap them for FSG.
Messi FC says Klopp's eyes work now. Buvac in.
I don't think Buvac would ever come back, to be honest.
Do you know what's mad? Do you remember when I first mentioned the Buvac thing, how I got absolutely drugged through the streets on it?
Yeah.
And even then, I wasn't even saying get Pep Linders out and bring Buvac back. I was just saying I don't think our patterns of play are as good as they were on the Buvac.
I remember. Vince's viewpoint, I don't think your super chat came through, bro.
I think we read out Vince's super chat.
Oh, did you?
Back, yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Because he just asked if we'd read out, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Right. Yeah, the Buvac thing, bro. It is a bit sticky, that Buvac thing. But
Buvac ain't coming back. I'm not even saying it has to be Buvac. I'm not even saying Pep has to go. But either Pep and Klopp change their methods, or then we have to have a discussion if they're not going to change their methods. This isn't working. It's not working. So we will see.
Yeah.
Guys, if you can, please do send in your viewers review to teamkopish@gmail.com. Filming it in landscape for a minute 30 max, please, guys. Please send that as soon as possible so we can get up on YouTube, sharing your views.
Oh man, you gotta love it.
And yeah, we are going to be back on Monday for the Monday Night Live show. So make sure you tune in for that.
Could this be a Monday night topic, Cal? We won't talk about it now because we're going to wrap up. We wouldn't have won the league with Buvac. His football doesn't work anymore. Because we weren't necessarily doing that well when he was here. And then as soon as he left, we did win everything. It is an argument. It is an argument, bro.
No, this is my biggest gripe with that point. Context is never added to it. I'm going to flip it on everyone who says that. We won nothing under Buvac, or would we have won the league under Buvac? I'm going to flip it. Would we have won with Pep Linders as our backup or our assistant manager with the squad that Buvac had to work with? Pep Linders became our number 2, if I'm not mistaken, in 18-19. Who did we sign that summer? Because that was the greatest summer of Liverpool's transfer history in I'd say modern times. We replenished the spine of the club. Buvac left pretty much as we got to the Champions League final in 2018. And you remember that season we were blitzing teams. We had just got Virgil, but we still had Karius in goal. Pep Linders had
we were
Alisson
quite poor defensively under Buvac though.
He had Alisson to work with, a Robbo in his second season, who is now fully acclimatized to Liverpool, a Trent who is maturing, a Virgil van Dijk who had a full 6 months under his belt and was about to head into his best season. You had Fabinho who had just come to the club, Hendo in his peak, Gini Wijnaldum was still there, Mo, Mane and Salah in their peak as well. Like, can we not act like Pep Linders had all of these things? Like,
I mean, and there's caveats all over the place. Dortmund, the 7th season for Klopp, Buvac was fully part of that. So if you want to sing Buvac's praises, he was part of that sinking ship, so to speak. There's so many caveats that can go all ways with this. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
So we'll see.
I do wish Klopp would get his glasses back though. It does seem to have gone downhill since he got his eyes fixed.
I don't know, brother. We almost won the quad last season, so it's nothing to do with his eyes. His eyes were working fine last season.
Yeah, obviously, I'm just fucking about, bro.
Oh boy. But people, please do smash the like button if you haven't. Shout out to loads of you who've been in the chat and supporting the watch long as well as this show.
We had a record watch along, so big up everyone for that.
Yeah, try and enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. For anyone who's a combat fan, there's UFC tonight, so maybe that'll take your mind off things. There's some other good football over the weekend. I've got nothing else, people.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not possible to have a good weekend after Liverpool let you down right at the beginning, but yeah, it's what it is.
Well, people, thanks for joining us. Stay safe, stay blessed. We're Kopish out, people. Take care.
Peace.